Some brilliant work from our friends at Declassified UK have uncovered Lisa Nandy helping undermine the Labour Friends of Palestine group. Nandy has been happy to parrot pro-Israel propaganda, which is why many were confused as to how she was ever the chair of Labour Friends of Palestine. Well, this information adds, I think, a lot of clarity. Exclusive. Insiders tell Declassified the organisation was allowed to wither and die under Lisa Nandy's stewardship. Declassified spoke with former insiders and obtained internal documents which help explain how LFPME, which is Labour Friends of Palestine Middle East, was defanged after several years as an influential lobbying force in Westminster. Though never well-resourced and always operating in a hostile political environment, LFPME's operations seemingly contracted under Lisa Nandy's stewardship and never fully recovered. She was simply not asked, one insider said, and allowed the organisation to wither and die. In 2009, LFPME met with Britain's then Foreign Secretary David Miliband, raising the issue of arms sales to Israel during Operation Cast Lead. If we don't sell them arms, someone else will, they were told. LFPME became a non-entity under Lisa Nandy's watch, and it hasn't recovered because of that. It was a small, dedicated team, so when they move on and Lisa Nandy takes over, and she puts no effort into any of the work or bringing on new people or new volunteers or getting anyone to do anything, then that successfully empties out the organisation, he said. Veteran Palestinian British journalist Abdul Bari Atwan, who was uninvited from a LFPME event following pressure from the pro-Israel lobby, was even more scathing about the organisation. This is not the Labour Friends of Palestine, it's the Labour Friends of Israel, he told Electronic Intifada in 2016. Again, I really want to praise DCUK for their work, especially on Israel's influence in the Labour Party. Kevin, look, I was confused how Nandy was ever elected to LFP, only for her to be, well, essentially pro-Israel, she is. And I think this new information makes things very clear, don't you think?
Absolutely, yes. And I'd like to say a big thank you to Declassified for, again, doing journalism that the journalist class of Britain have completely abrogated their duty to their readership or indeed listenership about. Yes, Lisa Nandy. I can understand why in a hostile environment, a group like Labour Friends of Palestine and the Middle East, because of course you need that qualifier in a way that the Labour Friends of Israel don't, why they would want a more establishment figure as the leader. So I'm not surprised that Lisa Nandy became the leader of this organisation in order to try and garner more influence at the top end of the Labour Party. But it's clear and obvious that that was a massive mistake and that they essentially signed their own death warrant by ever even entertaining the idea. Because Lisa Nandy is a person who went on to describe themselves as a Zionist at the 2019 hustings in her own constituency. She is clearly and obviously a plant that's been placed into that position by Morgan McSweeney, as the article pretty openly states. Morgan McSweeney and the Labour Together crew, whose explicit goal was to take on Corbyn and to reclaim the Labour Party from the left. She was clearly and obviously a Zionist plant that's been put in there in order to destroy any opposition to Zionism within the Labour Party, and they've been ultimately very successful. It's another another perfect example of Zionist capture of an otherwise anti-Zionist or potentially just non-Zionist political or cultural.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, what they are today, I don't know before, but today they're not even anti-Zionist. I mean, they praise Keir Starmer on the minimal steps of virtue signalling. So, I mean, that's probably after Lisa Nandy and the Morgan McSweeney's inside sort of hollowed it out. But right now they're pretty.
Well, they're a non-entity.
Non-entity, yeah.
They're absolutely.
And they never were particularly that radical beforehand, but they had to get inside there and ruin it.
Well, I mean, this is the kind of clever, in a Machiavellian sense, approach that the Zionist lobby have made in the UK, because their smears against Jeremy Corbyn, one of the most high-profile pro-Palestinian activists over the course of many decades now in the UK, to smear him as anti-Semitic, by association smears everybody else who holds that position as being anti-Semitic. So inherently you're fighting an uphill battle. Just by saying you're pro-Palestine, they've put in people's minds pro-Palestine means anti-Jewish, basically. it's or at least anti-Zionism equals anti-Jewish, which of course is disgusting and is one of the examples of racism under the definition of anti-Semitism. Adopted by the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn, bizarrely. That's what they wanted, but it happened anyway. Lisa Nandy is one of the worst examples of a careerist in the current cabinet, which is saying something considering that cabinet is headed by Jeremy Corbyn, by if only, no, by Keir Starmer, and indeed the Foreign Secretary David Lammy as well. Really, she is one of the snakiest snakes in a group full of snakes.
I mean, at one point, she was seen as the leader of the soft left. You even had pretty big left-wing figures saying, we should give Lisa Nandy a shot. And really, I mean, I never saw the appeal from her, by the way.
Those people were idiots, yeah.
Yeah, I never saw the appeal from Lisa Nandy. I mean, I think they were enthusiastic because she kept talking about towns as if this was going to be some sort of redistribution project.
No.
I think she was just cosplaying. But I never bought into her. I don't think she has any charisma as well.
No, not really.
I mean, that's the problem with the Labour Party anyway. There's a lack of charisma in there. I mean, the qualifier you mentioned, and I sort of said it in the article, right? It used to be Labour Friends of Palestine, and that was it. And then you had Labour Friends of Israel. And sneakily, you had the Labour Party, I think, whilst it was under Lisa Nandy's watch, they changed it to Palestine and Middle East. Yeah. They didn't want having sort of Palestine its own group. And I feel like that's a way where you can say, well, we've got the word Palestine in the Labour Party. Clearly we care. And they can basically push out anything that's related to Palestine and just talk about the Middle East.
Yeah, basically, yeah. In a way that they don't have to for Israel.
Yeah.
Israel gets its standalone group, whereas Palestine is Palestine and the Middle East. Well, okay, so am I to take it that the Labour Friends of Israel don't give a damn about the rest of the Middle East? I mean, I don't think they do, but they probably shouldn't be so explicit about it, I think.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's an interesting story. I mean, look, I don't think anyone's surprised about this. No one is. But I think it is, and that's why I praise DC UK so much, because you would never see something like this in the mainstream media. Absolutely not.
Well, you saw this.
And it's so good to see it in black and white.
Yeah, you saw this when Al Jazeera did their exposure of the Zionist takedown of Jeremy Corbyn, and the British media just didn't cover it. They didn't touch it. They didn't want to go near it because, of course, they were at best willing but unknowing dupes of that arrangement, or they were its active agents. And either way, they didn't want any part of it, so they just ignored it. And the same will be true of this, of course. And yet again, it's just another example of the Zionist cancer eating away at the British body politic.
Support independent media. Support social justice that's there on social media. Thank you. Turn left.